I dream of numbers. Numbers come into my dreams. I'm subconsciously memorizing numbers. It's now become an addiction. I went to school in the 80s. The system fucked my whole generation up. We had to endure 2 years of sporadic teacher strikes. Finally, they accepted a new pay deal and came back. They told me, "You have your exams in 3 weeks. We as an institution have failed you. We're so sorry and good luck in the future." I went straight into a life of crime at the age of 15, and I've not been able to get out ever since. I did try in my 20s. I was accepted onto an access course and I flew through it. I used the qualification to go to university and study criminal psychology. I seriously thought I could do both, and I was for a time. Then one day I had a lecture. It was about how to spot a criminal. I assumed this lecture was going to be useful for someone like me, but I soon realised she was bloody spotting the criminal within the class. I just wanted to get out of there, but she bloody nabbed me.
I've studied your behaviour. Either go out there and do what you do, or focus on your degree. We can't run from who we are. We don't choose our destiny chooses us.
What choice was there to make? Our destiny chooses us. All I focused on was correcting my behaviour. I went from a flashy cunt to Mr. Incognito, Mr. Mystery, Mr. Ambiguous, and that was the end of that. I started hitting shops. People were doing them blind. I wasn't doing that. Too risky. Instead, I went into shops and asked staff and owners if I could run my fraud through them. 9 out of 10 people said yes. In no time, I had numerous shops on lockdown. Selfridges, River Island, Rolex, the lot. I smashed the shops for a few years until I started renting an embossing machine for a few grand a week from a gangster. I would program stolen data onto blank squares and emboss details onto it, and you was good to go. I slowly built my client base up from a couple of people to over 800 clients within a year. I was charging £200 a square and making 10 grand a week. Then bang, chip and pin arrives. It literally put every fraudster out of work. Shops and banks ceased using the swiping system and replaced it with chip and pin. No one could get hold of original blank squares with chips or reprogram an existing square, so it seemed like game over. The embossing machines were now deemed useless by everyone, except me. So I bought all the machinery for next to nothing. Fraudsters thought I was crazy. They kept asking me, "What you gonna do with it all? Swiping's over." One day, I was playing with an original square and it hit me. Shit, it's only plastic. What if I found a way to take the name and numbers off and replace them with a new set? I was methodical. I went through loads of things, just like the guy who invented the tungsten. He went through cow hair, horse hair, everything until he found it. I tried boiling water. It worked, but it wasn't good enough. Microwave, no good. I even ironed the numbers, but you could still see the shape. I tried everything. I'd almost given up, until the answer literally burnt me on my hand. I couldn't believe it. I'd been walking past it for months. If I tried to do it standing up, it would never have worked. Heat travels upwards. I laid on my bed with a spliff, and the numbers just vanished. The only issue was, it left a chemical residue on the square. So I tried a lighter and worked out turning the heat of a clipper down was the perfect tool. So I'm just flattening all the numbers down, taking them all off. As you can see, they're all slowly disappearing. And take the expiry date off. So expiry's gone. So the name's gone. I'm just going to flatten it now. It's starting to buckle up a bit. Put it on a flat surface. It straightens out the card again. As you can see, all the details have been erased. So now you've just got a blank square. But people's thinking isn't as deep as my thinking. That's why I've taken it apart. I was thinking about it one night. How do I put new numbers on? Because when the machine comes, it comes with casing round it. You can't see where the numbers are touching. So I needed to see exactly where the numbers were touching the plastic. And to do that, I had to dismantle it. Cut out bits of metal from here, so you can see inside. And then buy a £10 lamp, so I could see exactly where the plastic touches the metal. These machines are not as rare as you would think. They were made in the 70s and cost as little as £100 and very easy to acquire. It's not just about buying them, it's about knowing what to do with them. This is a very tricky job. So now we're ready to put some numbers onto it. It took me 3 years to master. In the early days, clients would bring a square and say, "Please don't fuck it up." You get stressed out. If you fuck one number up, the square's useless. I'd be hunched over the machine, acting like a person who defuses bombs, really taking my time with every number, sweating away as the metal touched the card. It's very difficult to replace a number with another number. Every square's number setting is either slightly up or slightly down. No squares are the same. You need to be precise to within a nanometer. Otherwise you'll see the old numbers underneath. Once I mastered the art of it, everyone started to come in to have details punched onto a square to use in a fraudulent move. So I've replaced the old numbers with a fresh set and expiry too. Just missing the name now. So we're going to replace what was there before with a completely different name. I acquired a passion for it. I never had one at the beginning, but I've done it for so long, now I know of nothing better. This is what I'm used to. If I don't do it, it feels like something's missing. It's just as normal as breathing and walking now. It takes no brain effort at all. I must have pumped thousands and thousands into the system. They haven't counted it ever. I've been doing it a long time, and no one's been able to put a stop to it. No shops or banks have ever been warned. They can't tell because the cards are perfect. Banks love us. If they weren't being defrauded, they'd be gutted. No one does any fucking crime in this country. We're paying out millions and millions in insurance and we're not getting nothing back. They know it's going on. I know their staff are in on it, but banks turn a blind eye to it because fraudsters make it possible for them to claim back from the insurance. Imagine how many millions they claw back and save in a year. So there you have completely different details from what was there before. Replace the name, the expiry date and the PAN number. Now we need to apply some colour to it to make it more how it should be. Fraud will never die because it's man-made. It's just reverse engineering. Man's natural inquisitions. No matter what they invent, there will be an adversary who will want to counter it. There's very clever people out there, happy to work in a criminal way. Just a bit of ink now, and there, put that into the machine. My intentions are not to hurt anyone. I don't think to myself, Today I'm gonna fuck this person up and take all their money out. I'm charging £50 a square to punch whatever details I'm asked to punch. How many thousands they make is their business. I'm giving you a component. Whatever you choose to do with it is not my problem. I've got ink all over it, but there's bits of ink in places where it shouldn't be. So, quite easily, we can get rid of it with a good old sponge. I just put a bit of blankness to my mind and try not to think about the morals of it. It makes me a living, and that's where I draw the line. Right, I've put gold onto it. You can use silver or black, depending on the colour of the card. For this card here, you should ideally use black or silver, but I chose gold so you can see it more clearly. So it's completely new details, original card. No one would know the difference. I try to do my bit for society and help out as best I can. Once a week, I turn my phones off and dedicate a day to charity. I don't do it to be a nice person. Even if I wasn't a fraudster, I'll still dedicate a day to charity. My heart naturally wants to do good. A lot of people don't get the chances we get in life, and that's why I do it. Right, we've got the security code on the back of the square. Gonna change that as well. A bit of heat to it because the numbers are indented. Once you put a bit of heat to it, it levels it out with the card. That's enough. So now we're going to use some toothpaste. It's a corrosive. A criminal does art to become a criminal. I have to produce a piece of art before I can be a criminal. So the art is what makes me a criminal. Now just felt tip it. Dave, do you want to rub this out? There you go. Okay, just to be law-abiding citizens, we're going to destroy the card. So we're going to commit no fraud with it. How honest of us. The highest populace of inmates in UK prisons is my age group. The system deprived us of an education, and most people who went to my school turned to crime because they knew of nothing else. If we went to Eton and lived in a leafy suburb, we'd be running the country. Cameron, Osborne and the rest of the Eton mob, they're no different to us. Fiddling their expenses, the banking crisis, HSBC money laundering, rigging the LIBOR rates and allowing their Google chums to evade taxes. It's all fraud at the end of the day. Society sees me as a criminal, but for a citizen to be honest and just, the people who run the country have to be honest and just. I could have been something, someone. I was a top student with a great brain. I had a bright future ahead of me. I couldn't use my ability to the best of it, so I do what I do, and maybe God says, the system fucked you up, and now you're getting a little change back. I'll let you get away with that.